Extremely welcome. We start off with the men's Omnium, the scratch race, pure and simple. First to complete the distance wins. That's the way it goes. 40 points up for grabs right at the very beginning. If things don't go your way, there is a chance to get back and into action. Here is your scratch race start list for you. Up at the fence, by the way, we'll have Eli Viviani, as you would expect. There's a rack full of talent here. We've got Bosco, Banaszek, Teutenberg, Van Schip, Bistum as well. Ollie Woods is in action. Jan Mathias. We have Havik, Yuri Havik again, who was so busy yesterday. Tobias Hansen, Perret, Imamura. And at the blue band, we will have Arago. Gavin Hoover is here. Benjamin Thomas, Matt Walls, Campbell Stewart, Jack Murphy. Gosh, it's a huge list. Sebastian Moravedri, I can't wait to see him go. With Lashika, we have Zakharov, Guillemette, Rhys Britton of Wales, and Naoki Kojima. Well, when you hear that rack of names, you realise that we're in for something very, very special. And every single one of the disciplines that we have enjoyed during these 4 days, this is the fourth and final of them, has been wonderful. Predictability, well, you can kind of park that, because in every single race we've had some surprises. Living up to the billing, though, is what Eli Viviani will be hoping to do here in the men's Omnium. Let's see how he gets on, shall we? He's got some royal rivals. Van den Bosch is just one of those. So how will it pan out? Let's find out from Jo Rousel. She is all-seeing, all-knowing, especially at disciplines such as this.
Yes, so men's Omnium, our first event this afternoon. 4 events all happening in the next 3.5 hours or so. So very busy afternoon of racing for these riders. They also had a qualification points race this morning. So we've got a track limit of 24 riders, but we had more entries. So we had 2 60-lap points races this morning for these riders to qualify. So there could be some tired legs out there. This is the 4th day of competition here in Glasgow. A lot of riders have ridden multiple events. Just seeing Viviani there from Italy. He's in stellar form this weekend, already taking a win in the elimination race a couple of days ago. We've also got our Olympic champion Matt Walls here riding for Great Britain, so there'll be a lot of home fans really keen to see him racing an Omnium again after his success in Tokyo last summer.
I am so pleased to see Sebastian Moravedri taking to the line. He's down at the blue band, by the way. Missed out on the Madison yesterday in qualification, and that is just how high the level is here in this Vélodrome. It's drawn a great crowd, and we will have some spectacular racing guaranteed. Leading off with the blue band, it is Arango of Colombia. They've gone extremely well. Here's Gavin Hoover. He was a little bit quiet yesterday. I'm just hoping that he presses all the right buttons and starts to tidy up today. Let's see. Benjamin Thomas is here. Matt Walls, Campbell Stewart, Jackie Bernard, Jackie B is here as well. Mr. Murphy. Very much looking forward to seeing how he goes around. How will Matt Walls cope in this intense competition? He'll go very well. The rises and falls of fortunes, we saw that in the women's Omnium yesterday. And some news on Katie Archibald.
Yes, so Katie crashed out of the points race yesterday evening. She was leading the Omnium at that point. She's, of course, the reigning world champion as well. So not very nice to see her crash down the steepest part of the banking. She was able to get up and walk off the track, though, so that was really good to see her not needing the stretcher. Yes, indeed. It was quite a brutal accident. We may have a look at it, knowing that she's okay. Thank goodness. Just waiting for news on a collarbone, and you think, well, why don't we know that news already? Well, a displacement of a collarbone is almost as bad as a break, but sometimes they sort of get themselves back to where they need to be. So that's what we're hoping for Katie, and see her racing again rather soon. But concussion protocols, after hitting your head, you've got to take care. 40 laps to go. They've shot the pigeon. It's just come down in the track centre. We'll enjoy that later. Meanwhile, let's get back to this, shall we? They'll count us down gently, and I love a scratch race. It's a race of purity. If you lap the field, you don't get anything extra. You're just 1 lap ahead as far as the distance is concerned. It's 10 kilometres, 40 laps, and sometimes, Joe, this is very, very intense. We saw the way that the men's Madison started, and indeed the elimination race. It was absolutely hell for leather. It looks like they've dialed it down just a little bit, but the vortex has already started, and they're going to whip us into a frenzy, I feel certain. Yeah, well, like I say, possibly some tired legs out there. 4th day of racing here in Glasgow. There'll be some riders that have raced all those days in various different events. But yeah, like you say, 40-lap scratch race here. The most simplest of the disciplines of the Omnium. The first over the line is the winner, but like you say, you can try and gain a lap to get yourself a lap ahead of the field. At the moment, being run at quite a fast pace, we can just see the riders all strung out along the bottom of the track, just taking their turns in the front for about a quarter of a lap or so, then swinging up. And you'll see some riders dropping to the back of the bunch, other riders dropping sort of halfway down the string, thinking about the position they want to be in, thinking about the wheels they want to follow. This can be a very tactical race. You'll get riders gearing up, aiming to go for a sprint at the end, and you'll get other riders riding a smaller gear, aiming to go on the attack and try and gain a lap. And you can see little alliances form as well during the scratch race, and then that can often progress throughout an Omnium. So always fascinating tactically.
Very much so. In the women's scratch yesterday, we saw a real grouping towards the end, and it meant that we essentially had a bunch sprint trying to take place in with real estate, I guess, at a premium. They were very, very packed together, and we had our worries. Katie Archibald did not get the result that she had hoped for from the opening round, so it's no respecter of past results, this discipline, and it can, if it gets bunched up, Joe, be a little bit of a lottery towards the end. You've got to find space where none apparently exists.
Yeah, so like we're saying, could be a really frantic finish, everyone jostling for position, trying to get the right wheel they want to be in coming into that sprint, and yeah, just a tiny mistake and you can find yourself quite a few wheels back and suddenly you can drop out that top 10. So need to be very aware of any moves going off the front as well. So there's a lot to think about in the scratch race, and also with it being the first event in the Omnium, you're often at that point not quite sure how you're going, how your form is, how other people are going. As we progress throughout the Omnium, you know the runners that you've got to watch in order to go for that position overall that you want to fight for, but this is always probably the most nervous of the events.
Well, they're exchanging nicely at the moment, and when you go up towards the rail, the natural inclination is to just rest up and drop towards the back, but you're in danger then of losing your place, if you will, in the exchanges. If there's a sudden change of pace out there, then gaps can open up and you find yourself having to put in some extra resources just to make amends for a bad position. So it's a little bit cagey at the moment. Everyone is kind of offering up enough respect to everybody, and we get a jink down on the inside, a little bit of a change of pace, and the Netherlands with Jan Willem van Schip wants to pick this up, and the pace has now visibly changed as they come into turn 3 out of 4. Ring and exchange, and the man who comes through is Van den Bosch. He hits the front quick, didn't want to stay there for too long, and it's Matt Walls that takes over. Gavin Hoover just has a look over his shoulder. Great success for him in the Track Champions League. Did a superb job. Would like to repeat that feat right here. Back down at the bottom, and you can see there's elbows flicking out all over the place here. It's a bit of a dodgy dad dance going on at the front. Let us see. 3 lines of action. That could be 6 lines of action late on. I'm getting fearful, Joe. This is getting nervier by the moment.
Yeah, the pace has been on for most of this race. We're just seeing a few riders swing up at the moment, but currently no attacks have gone. We've seen a few gaps open up sometimes. There's some people getting to the front and wanting to test the legs a little bit, and then that can be a good opportunity to sort of see how you feel, swing up and see if you've done any damage behind. But at the moment, no actual attacks that we've seen. One
rider operating under a warning, and that is Arango of Colombia, who was on the front just a few moments ago. And you can see a complete change of demeanour now. Benjamin Thomas, of course, with Eli Viviani on his back wheel. This is starting to get interesting. Jack Murphy tracing them as well. They're all on a tow rope by the looks of things, and as a trio they just go up to the rail. There's a change of pace down below, and it's picked up by Van Schip. Yeah, he's been really stirring it up here, kicking the hornet's nest, you might say. Let's see what the reaction is.
Yeah, Van Schip has been trying to get this pace up. Every time he gets to the front, we can sort of see him accelerate. We've seen Viviani stick to that wheel like glue. Then we saw all those 3 riders go back. We've got a little split in the bunch at the moment. I don't think it's a real big threat, but you can just see the effects of just pushing on when you do hit the front. You can see a few gaps open up, a few tired legs out there. But at the moment, I think this is all going to come back together. We're almost halfway through this race.
Zakharov through and off. He exchanges as well, but not a long drop back, you may note, as well from Van Schip. Didn't really want to be further than 6 riders down off the front. Zakharov is staying with him. He's picked his wheel. He's going to stay with with it. And this is where all of a sudden other teams think, you know what, I can play this game too. Just watch this, why don't you? And the pace picks up, and it was Will Perret here. That just from one of the trade teams who just goes for it with Van den Bosch alive to the threat. And here we are. Don't forget to straight race this. If you cross the line first, it doesn't matter whether you lap the field, you're still a lap up essentially. So there's no extra points garnered, but the distance he has generated here is quite substantial. Nobody yet tempted to fill the gap. Van Schip has been busiest of all, and in fact it's he that sets off, and guess what? He's got his old mate Zakharov on his back wheel for the time being. This is great from Perret.
Yeah, getting a lot of support here from the crowd. Van der Schip doing a lot of chasing. Just seen Viviani hit the front, but swinged up quite quickly. Benjamin Thomas of France up there, Ireland as well, and we're just getting Gavin Hoover, I think, of America now coming to take up the chase.
There we are, just trying to get onto that back wheel. He flicks his elbow and then goes into the space where he flicked it, as if to say, come on, I want you on the inside here. And Imamura decides to help out. Good sequencing here, and it's not over for Matt Walls either, very much so. It's formed a tasty quartet up front, only 16 laps to go. This is dangerous.
Yes, it is. Matt Walls, of course, our Olympic Omnium champion, not wanting to miss this move, knowing the threat there. Currently on the front of this little group, we've got 4 riders working well together, but another 4 riders very close behind, and the bunch is a little bit splintered behind that.
Extraordinarily good work. Tight and tasty for the time being, and a good bridge has been instilled here by Van Schip. He's alive to everything, the man in the orange of the Netherlands. No look behind. If he did so, he'd see Van den Bosch as well. 2 very strong riders in a situation like this, and we're asking ourselves, where is Viviani? Well, he's in the chasing group at the moment, just tucked in behind the Swiss rider. Is out of position just for the time being. And laps are running down, 15 to go. It's retrievable. It's Shimon Wichtum is the Swiss that Viviani has been riding with. He's not taken too many nerves, or not displaying too many. He's relying on the fact that there will be others that might do some work, and Francis Benjamin Thomas it is that stays with that group. But there's a very, very handy bunch that's gone off the front. 8 riders, in fact, who've just escaped. They're just about to lap one of those who's fallen off the back, essentially. There are 5 pursuers, though, and looking very spirited, and it's all breaking down behind. Here come that quintet, and it's led naturally enough by Van Schip. He's done a lot of work. I think he may well have burned himself out here. Let's wait and see. He exchanges within the 5, sort of an elongated pursuit team, you might say. It's going to turn into a sprint fest in 10 laps time. Here we go, Joe.
Yeah, this 8 runners out the front have probably got the next bunch, not quite in their sights. They're working very well together. We've got 3 groups on the track at the moment, so of course it's down to the commissaire to decide which is the main group on the track. But Van Schip at the moment chasing very hard, trying to close this gap solo now.
He is. If you want a job doing, do it yourself, and that's precisely what he's doing. He's done a one-man bridge here. Goodness me, he manages to tag onto the back of that lead group, and of the big names that were trailing, this boy has taken his Koga machine right onto the back of this string. Fantastic. Dropping down in front of him is Van den Bosch as well, so he's in good company. It's all coming back together. But a few have been divorced and find themselves out of position, and Viviani is one of those, I'm afraid. It's not going well for the Italian, not yet, with 7 laps remaining.
Yeah, Viviani and Benjamin Thomas of France are the 2 really big names that have missed out on this move. So we've now got a small group that are trying to work together to chase, but there's a good half a lap gap to our lead group now at the front that have just got over the line.
Well, they're doing a fantastic job, and the sort of power that they've got, I don't really know how this has managed to open up. They were all leaning too heavily, I believe, on a young Willem van Schip. He managed to get to this group, and there is the man in the orange. I think he may well have done a bit too much when he's finally called on at the end. If he can still get through, that will be amazing. Japan's Imamura has also been lively, and we haven't mentioned him barely at all, but Sebastian Moravedri will be quite fresh after missing out on Madison qualification yesterday. That's him just divorced from the lead 3 at the moment. He checks over his shoulder. He's capable of, in fact, that's Matt Walls, I beg your pardon, but he's very capable of pushing on. He was in the trio, Moravedri. He's just moved up to 2nd place right now, and he's in mugging mode, I can tell you. He was fresh after losing out yesterday, and he will feel like he's got a point to prove. And just look at this, a big crank up from Van Schip. It's recognised by Moravedri. All together, we're going to get ourselves a mass sprint by the looks of things. Van Schip goes to the front. Moravedri is on his shoulder, comes up onto that just above the red line right now. He's going to drop in front now. He may well have missed out yesterday, but the Spaniard means business, and he may well start to display some of that any moment now. Round the back they come. It'll be the bell next time by, and suddenly they start to wake up here, Joe.
They do, so big lead out now. We can just see Matt Walls up there as well. There is the bell, final lap of this race.
Final lap indeed, and it's time to go deep if you can, and Ollie Wood is riding like a superstar at the moment. Can Moravedri get back in him? It's going to be a drag race to the line. Ollie Wood's going to get there. The crowd are going to love that. Oh, bike link in the end. Super work by Ollie Wood. He kept himself very quiet throughout that race and then went loud at just the right time. That's the way to do it.
Excellent riding there by the young British rider Ollie Wood. Like you say, kept himself quiet, followed the right wheels, made a big move at the end there, led it out for that last lap. Excellent victory. Followed closely by Matt Walls in third place. Moravedri took the second, so we've got two Brits in the top three there. Just seeing a replay over that finish line. Clear win there for Ollie Wood.
An Ollie Wood ending. Why not? Moravedri in second place.
That was terrible, Martin.
I was first to say it, but yeah.
You were desperate to say that, I could just tell.
All week. But yeah, what a fantastic win. Matt Walls coming home in third place ahead of Shimon Vitschum. Moravedri, on initial results here, looks to be outplaced, but yeah, we saw it with our own eyes. We have loved it, and your company. That was fantastic. Let's see how this one plans at the line. Well, we did warn our friend from the Netherlands, Willem van Schip, that you have to save your energies until the end, and that's precisely what Ollie Wood did. I think he raced extraordinarily cleverly though.
Yeah, you're right. It was smart racing. So there was a lot happening in that scratch race. There was a lot of people working very hard in that group that was away that didn't come to anything. So you're wasting a lot of energy by being away like that. We also saw a lot of energy wasted from the group behind trying to do that chasing, leaving it very, very late. Here we've got confirmation of the standings.
OMNIUM standings after the scratch race, the opener of the four disciplines. Ollie Wood takes it ahead of Moravedri, Matt Walls in third place, Banaszek of Poland in fourth. What a race that turned out to be. And look at the wounded here, essentially. Morally, you might say. Benjamin Thomas, what is he doing down in...